What's the most upsetting type of sock to see someone take their shoes off to reveal when you don't want them to take their shoes off?
Brunch. Hit it, boys.
Can Trump complain about Greta Van Fleet going on tour with Metallica so that gets canceled?
What gets canceled? Greta Van Fleet?
Did you see that?
No.
Breaking news today. Metallica is adding Greta Van Fleet to its current tour. Fortunately, it's not going to be anywhere near us, so we're outside the blast radius. But
Perfect.
It's going to be in South America, and that is like a critical apex of bad music shit happening.
Yeah, I've completely avoided Metallica for my entire life. I've probably heard songs, but I've completely kept them out of my peripherals just because all anybody who listens to Metallica does is talk about fucking Metallica and how good Master of Puppets was.
Very true.
Yeah.
I saw somebody the other day wearing a Master of Puppets t-shirt that just had the track listing of Master of Puppets on it. And it was in a bar. And he was, I think, trying to associate with people. And
He's
talk
probably
to people.
trying to talk about Master of Puppets.
He's probably like, hey, you guys, people forget about Leper Messiah, man. No, that is true. Metallica people want to talk about Metallica.
And I'm not saying Metallica sucks. I'm sure Metallica is really good. But at this point, I just don't want anything to do with Metallica because, one, I know they suck now.
Right.
And two, I'm way too late on any of that shit anyways, and I don't want to be the guy who's talking about Metallica in 2019.
It's overall, it has worked out for you because you don't have to endure the thing of, A, you either have to act like bad music is good, which is a huge Metallica fan move. Like every 5 years now, Metallica puts out possibly the worst album that's ever been made, and people are like, oh no, this is good, they're just getting back to their roots. And it's like, no, they're 60 years old and they're sloppy as hell and they're terrible. I did that with one of their bad albums, and then I was just came to admit, okay, they suck now. And then the other thing is you become that person where you're like, hey, a band in which I invested a lot of my life just got really, really terrible, and I wish they could have just quit. Like Billy Joel retired after River of Dreams, 1993. He's coming off of Stormfront, which has Downeaster Alexa, We Didn't Start the Fire, really, really big hits. He puts out River of Dreams, which has River of Dreams, which has, I don't know, that had some hits on it. It had All About Soul. And then he was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm in my prime, but I'm getting out.
Just put it into cruise control. Play the good music that you did make when you were at your prime. And even if it's a little shittier or sloppier, people are still going to see those songs. They're still going to have a good time when those songs get played. You're still going to sell out places. So just fucking shift it into cruise control and ride off into the sunset.
Billy Joel ended up figuring out kind of the best situation. He took 10 years off. He did the LCD sound system thing before LCD sound system did it, which was, this is my last concert. This is it. Y'all better spend $1 bajillion on tickets for this concert because it's the last one. And then roughly, honestly, it wasn't even 10 years later. It was probably 5 years later. He was like, well, I got to do something. So
I'm bored, man.
So I think I'm going to play concerts. But maybe this is the last time. Y'all better buy tickets. And now he just plays the Madison Square Garden once a month,
right? Yeah.
And then does a mini tour every summer, and he cleans up. So good for him. Metallica should do none of that, though. They're so sloppy, and they've gotten so bad. But the idea of a current Metallica and Greta Van Fleet concert means that you have both people who are claiming Metallica is still good and people who think that Greta Van Fleet is good. And that is just, you want to talk about a where y'all sitting? I am sitting anywhere but that concert.
Now I kind of wish they were coming here because we could go and we could just set up in the parking lot and
totally
interview people.
Totally. I looked up, as soon as I saw it, I was like, man, if this is coming to, I assumed it would be Gillette or something. I was like, we should just go undercover and dress the way Greta Van Fleet fans might dress. Or basically just dress like Greta Van
cosplaying Led Zeppelin.
Dude, any meme that makes fun of how that stupid kid looks is the best. You see the one, I think is it Jared Leto? He's at like a fashion show, and he sees like the look on his face as he looks at the model is like, wow, this is incredible. And then it cuts to him wearing the same clothes.
Yep.
That is exactly Greta Van Fleet watching Led Zeppelin. Do you care about the Hunt thing?
I care about the Hunt, the movie.
Yeah.
I don't care about the controversy surrounding it. I think the controversy is super overblown. It's just a fucking movie that's almost the exact same thing as, like, The Purge.
I was going to say, like, yo, if you're mad they're putting this movie out, that's been happening for years.
The only difference is this time is that the Trump people feel like they've been wronged, so they're making a big stink about it.
I don't get it, though. How did they feel that they've been wrong because they're being portrayed as the bad guys?
They're not even being portrayed as the bad guys. They're being portrayed as the ones who are hunted. Like, the elite libs, quote-unquote, are the ones who are doing the hunting. They're the rich people.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so, like, I don't even think that's, like, really true. Like, and even if it was, like, clearly the rich people and, like, the libs in that movie are the bad guys.
Right.
Because they're hunting
the people
humans.
who are hunting people and killing them.
Like, you have Glenn Howerton as, quote-unquote, the lib. Like, that guy is clearly only cast to be a psychopath. That's literally all he's ever played.
Yeah, that's pretty much up his alley. Yeah, so then to your point, if you're like, hey, what about The Purge? They're like, never heard of it.
Right.
It has people from Insecure. Like, they...
Right.
So, I don't know. It's very stupid. It just does... I do have that same feeling that... that people had when The Interview was coming out.
Oh,
I
right.
was kind of worried about The Interview, though. When
they
were like, we're putting out The Interview.
The Interview had, like, a very high potential to be racist.
It had so many things. It had that, and also North Korea was like, don't you do it, or
Right.
else.
We
And I'm
will
like,
nuke you.
You know what country has the means to do or else? North Korea.
Right.
Let's just not piss them off. I never ended up even seeing that movie, did you?
I did. It wasn't that good. It was fine.
It wasn't going to be good.
No,
it
but it
looked
was
really
But
stupid
it also
and terrible.
didn't really, like, provoke anything.
I think my prediction's going to be wrong. When that all came out and Trump and everybody cried about it, I said we're all going to have seen that movie within 10 days.
I saw it within 10. I saw it, like, in the first week that it came out on demand.
No, The Hunt, I'm saying.
Oh, The Hunt?
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
I thought that
People
it would be...
people who don't go to the movies aren't going to see that movie.
It would I figured it would be either Netflix or Hulu or somebody would buy it, and because it's just that I think it's not Sony. Sony was The Interview.
I'm pretty sure it's a Blumhouse movie, The Hunt.
It is?
I believe
Universal.
So. Blumhouse Productions.
Okay, but Universal was Blumhouse made it. Universal was distributing it, and they said, "Never mind, we're not doing it." I figured they would just sell it to wherever, and it would be out by now.
Wait, they're not releasing it?
You didn't know? Yeah, that's what
No.
the thing is. Trump cried about it, so Universal pulled it, and now they're not going to release it.
Well, I saw that Trump cried about it. I saw that everybody was crying about it. I didn't know that it got pulled from being released. That's so fucking stupid. So I wonder.
So you faked your way through this conversation pretty well.
Well, I knew the original source of the controversy. Now I'm interested to see, like, if it actually does kind of, like, go into that territory. Because
that's what I'm saying.
Why wouldn't you release it?
I figured that as soon as that was all that shit was hitting the fan there, and Universal pulled it, somebody would immediately, even if like Viacom is like, we're going to release it on our streaming service because everybody has a streaming service these days. I don't know if Viacom has a streaming service. That is a new thing, though. Shows being pulled so they can go up for only
streaming.
That place's streaming service.
I'm hoping that movie gets released because I'm interested in seeing it.
Yeah, it was a big week for Where Y'all Sitting. It was very well received. Everybody seemed equally curious as to where people are sitting, and I'll tell you, it's still on my mind. I've been thinking nonstop about where people are sitting. Had some sleepless nights thinking somewhere out there, somebody's sitting, and I've got no clue where it could possibly be. And thanks to the listeners who've kept us updated on where you happen to be sitting at any given time. Please keep us posted. Also, please let everybody else know. You can tag us in it, but maybe do like a broader tweet. Just say, this is where I'm sitting. Tag us at the end of it so everybody can see it. All your followers know, okay, he or she is safe and sitting.
We also got some pretty good, user suggestions for topics.
They didn't understand that. I put out a thing saying like, hey,
there were some good ones.
Send some hypothetical where you sittins out, and they were like at an ice cream store.
Some of them were good. Some of them, we got a couple good ones.
We got 3. Sitting in the aisle seat on a plane where the stewardess hits you in the ankles with the drink cart every 5 minutes, or sitting on a plane next to someone who takes their shoes off and massages their feet. Where y'all sitting? It's definitely getting attacked by the stewardess.
I don't know. It depends, I guess. If does the person next to you have socks on? I can deal with socks on.
No,
do they have sticky feet?
No, because then if someone's taken off their shoes in like a you're not supposed to be taking off your shoes place, it doesn't really. It makes you. It's like, what else is this person capable of, and what are they going to do next? Like, I wouldn't rule out them
red flag.
elbowing me every 5 minutes, in addition to taking off their shoes. So I'll just take. I'll always take the physical beatdown over the psychological torment.
All right. I will say that I'm not. It's definitely a red flag when somebody takes off their shoes when they're not supposed to. But I'm not necessarily bothered by it unless it stinks or unless like they have disgusting looking feet and it's distracting. I would rather deal with that with a non-disgusting foot situation than being assaulted by a stewardess every 5 minutes during a flight. We defended foot fetishists last week. Let's dip our toes and feet into this foot hypothetical. What's the most upsetting type of sock to see someone take their shoes off to reveal when you don't want them to take their shoes off? I would say like any white sock that has like a yellow like toe. You know how they have like the toe coloration things? Like any like
it's like
yellow,
a yoke situation.
Yoke?
It's like
kind of, yeah. And so like anything like that, why are you buying those socks in the first place? That's a red flag. Those socks are gross. But also just like any old sock that you can like kind of see through.
I legitimately have one pair of white socks. All my gym shorts socks are black, and then all my what am I, Michael Jackson? I'm not wearing any white dress socks. Mine are like the any sort of like gold toe dress sock that has the little stripe across.
Okay.
That is, oh man, I've had experiences where people have like kicked off their shoes where I'm like, yo, you saw people come in here, they didn't kick off their shoes. Why are you kicking off your shoes? And they're just like sitting around, and all I can see, I get distracted by the bad things like that. If someone, all I want to do is talk to them for 45 minutes about why did you just take your shoes off?
I used to be an exclusively black sock person, but I've since gotten into recently white calf socks.
Are calf socks no-show socks?
No, those are ankle socks.
Okay.
Calf socks are like, not calf, I would say like quarter socks.
No-show socks are like, they come off, listeners, you're going to really dig this, like right around here. It's
at the top of the foot.
Yeah, it's like it reveals. Now I'm going to be a guy that takes off my shoe. It reveals like all of this is shown. It barely.
I don't like those.
It's barely hanging on. Those things fall off. By the way,
they suck. When you walk and they like fall underneath your heel.
They're the worst. Worst. It's like if you want to trade. Hey, are you afraid that maybe for 1 second people will know that you're wearing socks, which you're supposed to be doing? Cool. Wear these. They're painful and they don't work.
For people with crippling anxiety that the public might think that they're wearing socks. I like white socks on white shoes. That's what I've since come around.
Yeah. I have some black, they look like running shoes, but they're not. They're like. They're like black Nikes that are they kind of look like running shoes, and if you wear white socks with them, you look like an absolute freak. Because even if it's just like a teeny bit standing out, you look like a psycho. This was a good one. In jail with Paddington, or on the yacht during Dancing Queen, where the butt go? Shouts out to everybody embracing where the butt go. This is so easy. What's yours?
Is it really? Well,
yes.
I mean the yacht, the Mamma Mia yacht is just like the grandest old time that could ever be had. So I think that that's probably the easy one. But if it has to go up against anything, I think that like In Jail with Paddington is like almost just as gay a time. So like it's a real head to head.
Easiest question I've ever been asked in my life. It's In Jail with Paddington.
Wow.
If you are on the yacht during Dancing Queen and you are sitting, what a loser.
Oh, that's
you
true.
are
Okay.
ruining everyone's time. You are turning that is not a gay old time. You have turned that into a bad, lame time, and everyone's like, who's this wet blanket? You're going to have a boat full of people talking shit about you. Because all they're thinking about is how much fun they could be having. And then Sophie is looking through the binoculars, and they're like, what is that? Like,
she's like, everybody can come on the island except for that one guy sitting down.
No, because there's no party going on. She's like, I thought I heard something, but then it quickly stopped, and now everyone's just kind of bummed out.
I guess
we're all bummed out over here. So... Reminder: Mom's still dead. This is gonna. What are we gonna do once this boat comes here? We don't want this people.
My fiance is still a lame sack of shit. Don't love him. He's very boring.
Yeah. Does Sky even run to see
Sky's
her when he gets
guy
off?
Sitting down.
He's like maybe.
But I think I breezed past the idea of like that. This involves sitting down.
That's a terrible oversight on your part. I mean, if these last 2 episodes have instilled anything into anyone's brain, or should instill anything, it's that sitting is so important to the where y'all sitting equation.
If anybody cares, by the way, we are currently sitting in the great outdoors.
We're sitting outside, where this is our second outdoor episode. Getting some on a comfy couch in the furniture showroom that your home has become, or at a desk taking a fun and easy online test about vitamins. Where are y'all sitting?
I think the comfy showroom sounds like the better option there, because the other one sounds like it's going to take way too long.
Taking a test, not for me. I'm way more of a paper guy. I'll happily do a paper instead. And the comfy couch in a furniture showroom that's become your home. If you've got a furniture showroom as a home, you can recreate 500 Days of Summer scenes all
2
Disney.
sinks.
What's that?
2 sinks. 2 kitchens.
Two kitchens. And you can have Bald Eagle. That's probably the most awkward part of that movie, when JGL tries to be like Will Ferrell for a second, when he's like, Bald Eagle.
Oh yes.
Like, yikes. Maybe let's get another. Let's try another take of that.
And that's the moment that Summer said next.
That's not happening. Speaking of 500 Days of Summer, Joseph Gordon-Levitt does some iconic karaoke in that. There's a story about a 65-year-old guy who went to the hospital because of too much karaoke.
His lungs collapsed.
He collapsed a lung doing karaoke. I read the story you sent to me. You were very excited to discuss it. This guy's just an idiot.
This guy stinks.
He did 10 songs in a row. He's 65 years old, off to a bad start. He did 10 songs in a row, and he claims they had very high notes.
Sure.
All right, relax. Use your falsetto. Right, grow up. My biggest thing, though, is he did 10 songs in a row at karaoke.
What kind of karaoke
Who likes
place?
that guy?
Yeah, what kind of karaoke place is this? How are they allowing this to happen? Who? There's way too much where the butt go in the crowd there.
Right.
Somebody's got to get up and take this guy off the stage.
Get off your butt, everybody.
Also, just mixing a water here and there, pal.
10 songs in a row at karaoke is the most psychotic thing I've ever heard in my life. Have you ever done karaoke before?
Yeah, but I've never done. I don't even know if I've done one song in karaoke.
Uh-oh.
I've gone to karaoke. I'm not a singer.
Man, now this is gonna get me off. Did you watch last night's Hard Knocks? Or
sure did.
Dude, Hunter Renfrow and the other rookies, that tells you everything you need to know about the Raiders organization. They had to get up there and they had to sing, and they did the it's a little awkward them singing, so I'm not really trying. Dude, that is okay. So much.
The second guy did all right.
He did the same thing. He did the same thing where he's like, I'm not really trying because how weird would that? Oh man.
What's stuff when you don't have music too? They didn't have music.
Just fucking do it. like Michael Jordan.
Off the top of my head.
Michael Jordan said, "I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something. I can't accept not trying." Nothing annoys me more than when people just mail it in out of fear of looking like they're trying. And people do that with karaoke. People do that apparently in team meetings when they're singing a cappella. That annoys me so much. But when you say you've been to karaoke and you've never gone up, I'm thinking it's because you've got that strain of negativity in your mind.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a singer.
You don't need to be a singer to do karaoke.
Yeah, but I don't want to do it.
Some of the most... that is fine. That is fine. If you say, I don't want to do it, then don't do it. If you go up, though, and you do the, like...
I would rather not go up
than be that asshole.
Than go up and like be like, haha, I'm cool. Like, I'd just rather not do it. I'd rather enjoy other people doing it and sing from the crowd.
Oh, so yeah, singing in the crowd is fun at karaoke. But it brings us mainly to the 10 songs in a row thing. I would say that once you've done 2 songs at karaoke, you're done. And you're definitely not doing them in a row.
Right.
You can do... I think the most I've done is like 2 songs by myself and then 1 with somebody else.
That's fine.
Love doing karaoke with somebody else. The issue is it's got to be a song with multiple parts and multiple people. I don't like when like 15 girls go up and sing Don't Stop Believin' together. A, because Don't Stop Believin's happening. And B, like if there's going to be like if 5 of you are going to go up, do a Spice Girls song. Do a Backstreet Boys song. Do something. Actually, Backstreet Boys is a terrible example because that's got 2. Right, so only got 2 of them. Unless you're doing Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely, someone's got to be Howie and hit that. Is it Howie that does the I have no place to go, surrender my heart? And then he does like an operatic body and soul. And it's so out of place. A, because Howie's singing, and B, because all that shit I just did.
Mm-hmm.
Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely. Not a bad song, though. What would you do karaoke if I made you do karaoke right now? Tiny Dancer?
No, that's... I mean, maybe. Any Elton John is a winner. I'd probably do You Make My Dreams by Hall & Oates just to piss you off.
And I bet you'd be like, hey, do you guys all know this song?
You ever heard of this deep cut?
I'm kind of an indie guy. You guys want to play this one song that no one ever hears anyway? I can't believe you played that song. Like, whenever I play a song like that on karaoke, it's to be annoying. It's to be like, hey, you probably saw, hey, there's a jukebox. I don't have to hear the same shit that I would hear anyway.
Guess again.
Well, here it is.
I don't know where you go that this song plays all the time, but I don't hear that song out in the wild all that much.
Really?
Yeah.
That is, so. I don't want to assign a number to it, but that is a very, very, very common song.
We got some movies that we want to tackle in this episode, right?
Well, this is an About Time episode.
This is an About Time episode?
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
The cast of About Time been working of late. Margot Robbie was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
She was in that movie.
Very problematic. Donald Gleason was in a movie that was made called The Kitchen, and Vanessa Kirby, who we've never been the let's talk about hot girls
I don't know
guy.
who that is.
But Vanessa Kirby, for me, is like a babe's babe.
I don't know who that is.
The babe to end all babe. She plays Joanna in About Time, and she's the main girl in Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely.
She's she's Rachel McAdams' friend.
Who was on crack?
In About Time.
I did not know that.
Joanna. She throws the party where they're serving hot dogs as appetizers, and then she says, "Don't eat them; they're not cooked." Which, the idea that she somehow found hot dogs that aren't cooked, like where do you even go to find hot dogs that haven't been cooked? All hot dogs are already they're already cooked.
I guess you just like boil them or grill them, right?
Right. It's just to make them a little bigger or to make them hotter. But all of them, they all say
cooked,
they all say. I'm pretty sure they all say on the packaging like pre-cooked.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like a sausage where there's like sausages. You got to do stuff too. But hot dogs, you can just. I'm
I feel
pretty
like
sure.
You could be wrong here.
Let me see. I'm gonna Google it right now. Are hot?
Because I don't think you can just like throw a hot dog in the microwave and be good.
Oh, sure you can.
Really?
I haven't done it before. Hot dogs are pre-cooked, so it's okay to eat them raw. Oh, no, this is a fact or fiction thing. It's a myth. Hot dogs are pre-cooked, so it's okay to eat them raw. Actually, it's important to always you have to reheat them, but they're cooked. So I don't understand. I guess it's probably like a bacteria thing.
I think it's a real, I don't think anybody knows kind of deal.
There's no way you can get to the bottom of it. I'm not going to click that link.
Before we take a trip to Movie Land, we should take a trip
to a showroom
with Away Suitcases, because Away Suitcases are a great sponsor of this show. I have an Away suitcase. I absolutely love it. It's the best suitcase that I've ever owned. That is no smoke. I absolutely love it. And
no smoke comes from these suitcases, unlike other ones.
Oh, you know it. And Away uses high-quality materials while offering a much lower price compared to other brands by cutting out the middleman and selling directly to you. Choose from a bunch of colors, say 9, and 4 sizes, called the carry-on, the bigger carry-on, the medium, and the large, for extended stays, because sometimes you gotta get away for a long period of time. You gotta be on the lam. If you're going to be on the lam, you want that large suitcase. The key design features include premium German polycarbonate, which is unrivaled in strength and impact resistance, and it's very lightweight. It is super lightweight. It's one of my favorite things about the Away suitcase. Easy to roll around. Got those 360-degree spinner wheels. Makes it easy to limit your sort of like the work that you have to put into carrying your luggage around the airport.
And the light comes right on. No wait.
You know it. And the doctor comes right to you. The interior features a patent-pending compression system, which allows you to overpack and not feel bad about it and not struggle to overpack, because if you're not overpacking, you're not packing correctly. And it comes with TSA-approved combination locks in the top of the bag to prevent theft. And it also comes with a removable, washable laundry bag that keeps dirty clothes separate from clean ones. And also comes with a portable charger for your cell phone. And you can pop it right out of that bag, carry it around in your pocket. It's a nice little portable charger. Everybody needs one of those. And if you want to try an Away suitcase, you can get a 100-day trial. Live with it, vibe with it, travel with it, Instagram it. And if at any point you decide that it's not for you, return it for a full refund. No questions asked. Free shipping on any Away order within the lower 48 states. And carry-on sizes are compliant with all major U.S. airlines while maximizing the amount you can pack. And if you want $20 off a suitcase, go to awaytravel.com/brunch. That's $20 if you go to awaytravel.com/brunch and use the promo code brunch during checkout. $20 off the best suitcase that you'll ever own. Go to awaytravel.com/brunch and use promo code brunch.
I found a fascinating conclusion to this cliffhanger about the hot dogs.
Yes.
Bologna sausages and frankfurters are fully cooked.
A bologna sausage sounds gross.
I'm sorry. Well, that's what a hot dog is.
It's a way grosser name.
Yeah, it's just like
it's
bad pork and chicken and bologna and shit just kind of stuffed in there.
I don't want it to be called a bologna sausage.
Anyway, those are pre-cooked, so you think, okay, they're both fully cooked, it says. Parentheses, though, in other cultures, such as the UK, hot dog is made with different kinds of sausage, some of which must be cooked before eating. About time takes place in the UK. So, Joanna, you're not that irresponsible.
And also, like, it just speaks to how great of a movie About Time is. Just complete factual accuracy.
Very accurate. And he doesn't end up... I don't think he ends up eating the hot dog, A, because she warns him, and B, because he takes Rachel McAdams out for some starters, which I think are appetizers. Those have to mean appetizers.
Yeah.
They say, let's go out for one starter, and then they finished some stuff that night. They banged on the first encounter, right?
No judging.
That's
not
right.
Slut shame.
I wasn't.
Sounded like you were.
Who would you think I was slut shaming there?
Both of them.
I was going to say I was waiting for you to say Rachel McAdams, because then that would have made you the sexist of all sexists.
No, absolutely not. It takes two to tango, baby.
And Yeah, everything was all good there, okay? They ended up having kids. Relax. It was super creepy how it all came together, but it's movies. That's going to happen. Anyway, yeah, that's... so Margot Robbie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Donald Gleason, The Kitchen, and Vanessa Kirby, Hobbs and Shaw. I'll let you pick. What are we doing first? Kitchen or Hobbs and Shaw? Both made strong impressions.
We want to do the stronger one first?
We could do which one I liked first.
I think that we should start up with a warm up.
The warm up.
Well, the warm up is definitely Hobbs and Shaw because there's less to talk about there. I think.
Hobbs and Shaw. Okay, let's start with Hobbs and Shaw. Hobbs and Shaw is a movie that is awesome. That movie ruled. I don't know anything about Fast and Furious movies. I was dumbfounded that Vin Diesel wasn't there. I knew that Paul Walker wasn't there.
Oh, yep, that's a pretty good guess.
Up with the news, but there was no Vin Diesel. Also, there weren't really cars. It seemed... I've only seen one Fast and the Furious movie. I was expecting a lot of street racing, vroom, 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 and this was nothing like that. This was an awesome action movie.
Offshoot.
Okay.
So it's not
it
really...
does say Fast and the Furious presents. Okay. Well, Fast and Furious...
And guess what they presented? Hobbs and Shaw. And that's the crux of the movie.
They should have been presenting that type of stuff instead of their own movies, and then maybe I would be going to see the second and third and fourth movies. Because the first one was just stupid. Just a bunch of guys
First one was
racing.
great.
Just a bunch of guys
racing
driving cars faster than they're supposed to, non-professionally.
Getting furious sometimes.
Illegally. NOS. I'll never get that stupid term out of my mind. This one, though, this was on par with Mission Impossible Fallout.
Oh, absolutely not.
This was an awesome action movie.
Get the fuck out of here.
Awesome
That
action
is
movie.
a preposterous claim. It is not even close to Mission Impossible Fallout.
I take it you didn't like it.
I thought that... I mean, it is what it is. It's basically...
Fucking awesome movie.
It is like a stupid fucking action movie that goes way over the top and has possibly the most preposterous third act that I've ever seen in my life.
That was so cool.
It was great. Like, it was fucking just absolutely bananas.
Dude, I'm seeing parallels in real time as we have this conversation. This is Mission Impossible
it is not.
Fallout. Both have Vanessa Kirby. Both have crazy helicopter things in the third act. This one was even cooler than that last helicopter one.
No,
that last helicopter one was the stupidest thing ever. This one was very, very stupid. This one was actually probably stupider.
Absolutely
But it was so stupid that it was fun.
Yeah, but that's the entire point of
Fast and the
Furious. It's basically Grand Theft Auto.
So that's why I'm okay with it.
You're right. I'm not saying I'm not okay with it. Like, it is just an absolutely preposterous thing, and you kind of have to expect that going in. But for like a self-serious action movie, Mission Impossible Fallout is almost as good as you're ever going to get.
I don't know how seriously Mission Impossible Fallout took itself.
I think it took itself pretty seriously. I mean, Tom Cruise takes himself super seriously.
That's true, but that's I think
Tom Cruise was like, I'm going to learn how to fly a helicopter for like 4 months just so I can do this final scene.
Right, but I think they kind of used Tom Cruise. They were like, yo, this is a very serious movie. We need you to take this as serious as possible because they need it. Like, that's part of the joy that like this
like when
guy
he broke his leg, they probably had a fucking party.
They were like, yo, this is exactly like I'm trying to think. What? Who's somebody where they're like, hey, fail, so it will be good?
Any of the Jackass guys.
Right. Yeah, it's something like that, except the Jackass guys are thinking, okay, I got to do it. I got to get hit or bit by as many of these things as possible, and that'll make it really cool. In Jackass, they understand I'm doing something really stupid.
So basically in Fast and the Furious, they're like, we're going to do these absolutely ridiculous things, but don't worry, guys. We're not going to make you actually do them. We'll just CGI it and sort of like stage it. But in Mission Impossible, they're like, oh, this is a very serious movie. Tom Cruise, you're going to have to do all this shit.
I don't know what was not to love about Hobbs and Shaw. The biggest like, yo, this sucks part of the movie is that Jason Statham is the worst actor in the history of the world. As I was watching Fast and the Furious, whatever this Hobbs and Shaw, it was on the same day that Rob Gronkowski said he had an announcement about his future, and all we do is speculate. What's the next thing he's going to be? Blah, blah. People say, can he act? Can he be The Rock? No, you can't be The Rock. Blah, blah. And the point that someone made forever ago is he doesn't have to be The Rock. He just has to be Sylvester Stallone, which is a very easy thing to do. He can be as bad and dumb as Jason Statham was in this movie. Like, if Jason Statham can make good movies, and I thought this was a good movie, can make good movies being as stupid as he was in that movie, then Rob Gronkowski can do it too.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, I never really understood the appeal of Jason Statham, like ever.
He's just, it's like a
dinks
guy who
the
fights.
Same thing and everything.
Right, but anybody can do that.
Right,
just get them
I
in
agree.
good enough shape.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, this movie, it just had so many fucking, like, stupid parts, and, like, I understand that it's supposed to be a stupid movie, but even, like, a lot of the humor was lame, and the jokes didn't land.
Oh, yeah, there were some... it was such a PG-13 movie.
Yeah, and it was written terribly. Like, I understand that it's not going to be, like, this work of art or anything like that, but, like, at least make the jokes good. At least write the characters a little bit better than they wrote them. Like, I didn't feel... I think maybe the biggest issue for me was that I didn't feel like I was watching like a movie. I didn't feel like I was watching Hobbs and Shaw. I felt like I was watching fucking The Rock and Jason Statham just be The Rock and Jason Statham and, like,
that's fair.
Go head to head in this stupid fucking world.
It was very, very stupid, but I liked it the way, and this doesn't do my argument any favors, but I liked it the way I liked Baywatch. Like, there were a lot of really dumb, corny-ass jokes when he's trying to find his seat on the plane, and he goes, F1, F2, and then he turns to Jason Statham and says, F you. Also, the dynamic between The Rock and Jason Statham is one that we've seen in so many movies. We've seen in movies, TV shows, whatever, where two people hate each other, but they work well together, and they just can't become friends. That's never actually happened in real life ever with anything.
You know what was a much better version of this movie? Was the one with Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, that was okay. I would say they're on the same.
The
bodyguards, bodyguard, the hitman's bodyguard,
hitman's bodyguard.
Yeah, I'd say they're both on similar levels. I'll take The Rock over Ryan Reynolds.
The writing in Hitman's Bodyguard was way better. The action was a little bit more over the top, but I thought the action in the Hitman's Bodyguard was pretty good too.
See, what I liked about this movie is how outrageous the action was, and there's only so many ways you can show a car get away from another vehicle, right, or one vehicle get away from another vehicle, and it's something that, like, when I went into Baby Driver, every time there was a chase, I was like, all right, how are you going to show me something I haven't seen before? Yeah. And then they would do it, and I'd be impressed. And I feel like it's so much harder to do now because there's been a million action movies over the years. They had a couple of pretty cool ones.
Yeah, and I mean, especially in the Fast and the Furious franchise too, where, like, they have been known just to one up, like, the previous movie, and they just get more and more ridiculous every time. Like, I'm pretty sure in one of the previous ones there was, like, one of them, like, stops a torpedo with a car or some shit like that, and I know there's one where they, like, drop a tank out of a fucking helicopter, or like a aircraft carrier or whatever it is. So, like, the fact that this movie was able to do something in the final act that you're like, you come away from being like, wow, that was fucking ridiculous.
How does this compare to other Fast and the Furious movies?
I haven't seen, like, the past couple of them. The last one that I saw was the one where The Rock gets introduced to that universe, and that one was like somewhat insane, but I know that it's definitely gotten, like, more crazy over the past few.
Was Idris Elba in that?
He was not. This is the first one that Idris Elba was in. And he plays Black Superman, and I think they went back to like his, like, ability well too many times in Hobbs and Shaw. Like, there are only so many times that you can show me that, like, his eyes calculate the incoming projectiles and stuff, and, like, that's how he's so good at fighting. Like, you show me that once, and I never need to see it again.
Also, Idris Elba's entire crew is all about like, robotics and how they can. They can do everything with getting online and hacking into stuff and everything, and their downfall is they make a chip required to use any of their weapons, thus putting their weapons online, and you'll never guess how they get undone by someone else just fucking hacking into them.
Yep.
There's no, like, it's like if you find a way to, like, take down the grid or whatever, and you're like, okay, now I can run everything, and you do it in a way, and you set it up in a way that makes you just as vulnerable as the way that you got all of your power.
Yeah, and it wasn't like you needed, like, it didn't scan your DNA or take like a blood sample to make you use the weapon. It was just like you have to wear this glove.
Right.
It was just very basic from the beginning, and also very basic in that they were just able to get hacked and then shut down all their weapons. But it did set up a very cool final scene in which there aren't weapons used.
It didn't inspire me to want to see any other Fast and the Furious movies, though, because I know now that Idris Elba isn't in the other ones. He was good in this.
Mm-hmm.
I thought The Rock was awesome. It just made my main takeaway, and Vanessa Kirby ruled. It made my main takeaway that Fast and the Furious's thing was like, hey, I know a trick that we can do. We can just not have Vin Diesel and Paul Walker and just get better people, and the movie will probably be better.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I can guarantee you this movie is better than, like, Fast and the Furious 4 or 5.
I don't know. I like the Fast and Furious ones. I like the at least those have a they have like a theme, and it's like the team. I love heist movies. Mm-hmm. This was definitely not a heist movie.
Yeah, this was more of like a science fiction movie.
Yeah, it was like let's save the world kind of movie. And I like heist movies, man. I like a bunch of like characters getting together, razzing each other, racing some cars, shooting some guns, having a grand old time, and then pulling off a heist. That's some good shit.
This was the latest movie the latest project in what's been a tough year for likable Russian characters. They have a scientist on whom both the good and bad guys are relying. They both need this guy's help, and he kind of becomes the Alexei, a la Stranger Things,
also,
and meets a identical fate.
And also, the worst Russian accent that I've ever heard in a movie ever.
Really?
It was so bad.
I can't remember. There have been some bad ones over the years.
It was truly terrible.
Do you know? Was he played by anyone?
He was played by a guy who plays in Ray Donovan. That's what I recognized him from.
Well, you're never going to see anything worse than Dennis Hopper in season 1 of 24 when he plays Victor Drazen, and he's supposed to be Serbian, and instead he is Dracula.
Or who's was it Nick Nolte in The Snowman?
Oh,
who
God.
was the old guy in The Snowman who just like was terrible?
I mean, Nick Nolte being terrible and The Snowman being terrible are all very
That's
believable. The things you're throwing my way.
Yeah, but I mean, like it wasn't like a piece of garbage. Hobbs and Shaw.
No, because it ruled.
It was. I went in.
I can't impress upon you enough, listeners.
Did not
this
rule.
movie was a blast. It's long, but whatever.
It is essentially what I expected it to be, but like a little bit worse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because like the humor and stuff didn't hit, and I expected the action to be good. That was never going to be bad. So it had less personality than I thought it would, based on the trailers and stuff.
Let me see how Rotten Tomatoes is feeling about this one.
The trailers were great. The trailers made it seem like there was a ton of humor and a ton of personality.
I don't think I saw a single trailer.
Yeah, so I think that set the bar a little bit higher than it actually delivered on.
Rotten Tomatoes goes 66% and an audience score of 89%. I'm with the audience. I put that in the high 80s. High 80s. That was a really good movie. Really fun time.
I'm down with the tomato score. I might bump it up like a little higher. I'd get maybe like a 68, 70 range, maybe 69. And I just think that like that's what it is, and if that's what it is, I think it's kind of fine. Like it was never going to be some like masterpiece or whatever. It's just an entertaining popcorn movie.
Nice. You want to take a trip south?
Let's do it.
Cool, because we are dropping that tomato score all the way down to 21%, which is where we will find The Kitchen. Bad, sloppy movie. The first, 5 minutes of the movie like so you missed the first 10 minutes, right?
No, I caught it.
Okay.
I ended up getting there right in time.
For like the beginning of the movie?
Yeah.
In the opening minutes of the movie, I thought, do you see him?
There
Hey,
he is.
Milsey. We're hanging outside with Emilio. The opening, like 5 to 10 minutes, I was like, oh, this is gonna rule, because it's just the setup of like a gangster movie,
right? And it cruises through like a lot of the quote unquote setup. Like
yes.
it's like, let's get right to it, and I liked that.
Right, they are in business. I guess no pun intended. Pretty quickly. So and then from there, it just so quickly becomes the most disorganized, sloppy movie. One of the most sloppy movies I've ever seen in my life. But basically, it's set in Hell's Kitchen in the 70s. 3 wives of gangsters are kind of left to their own devices when their husbands get busted while on a job, and the mob is supposed to take care of them, and they don't really give them the payments that they're supposed to get, so they say, okay, you know what? Well, why don't we get into this business? Why don't we start providing protection? Why don't we start
Seems easy enough.
Getting in on the racketeering, the extortion, all these things, and they become gangsters. It's like your classic non-gangster becomes gangster, gets caught up in the gangster world. That is such an easy formula, and it always at least yields a pretty good movie. And this was like they found a way to mess it up with good actors too. Like Elizabeth Moss was in this.
Yeah, and they
Melissa McCarthy, who does dramas well, was in this. Donald Gleason, Tiffany Haddish, who honestly the first 15 minutes I was like, it was like seeing Can You Ever Forgive Me? Like, okay, let's learn whether this person known for their comedic chops can do a serious role. And the first 15 minutes I was like, oh, absolutely. She's got this.
Who, Tiffany Haddish?
Yeah.
She's good.
But then the movie got so all over the place that by the end of it, I'm saying, Haddish wasn't good in this. McCarthy wasn't good in this. Nobody was. None of these good actors were good in this.
But I think it's a case of them not being able to save it, because it started off where like I wasn't like, oh man, this looks bad. And I think it like you said, it fell apart, and it wasn't able to be saved by these good actors, and they came off not looking great because of how bad and sloppy the script was. And like, also, you mentioned the fact that this is an easy formula to follow. There's a movie that came out last year that they could have easily just fucking followed, and I didn't think that Widows was great, but Widows was a much better version of almost the same movie.
When I tweeted that it was bad, people started tweeting to me about Widows. I don't know what they're talking about.
I just watched Widows this week.
Okay.
And so, like, really great timing. Widows was fine. It wasn't
like Wives of Gangsters become gangsters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, I mean, like, for me, one of the, like, my big takeaways from this movie was that they do, if there's like show and tell, this movie did a lot of telling and not a lot of showing. It was just like Melissa McCarthy, they just kept banging over the head that she was the smart one in the group. Mm-hmm. She didn't do anything in this movie that made her seem smart.
Right. And then,
nothing.
And then
until the very, very end.
They also make it into, there's so many, they try to tell the same story like 15 different ways, and they're all different enough from each other that you're asking yourself, what movie am I watching? Like, what is this? Who's in charge here? Who's the one that they're all looking to? Who's like actually running this? And you never, like, at some point it becomes Saw. Like Donald Gleason and Elizabeth Moss become these like sick murderers suddenly. That's a thing. And then
they like build a love story around it.
And then there's a twist that Tiffany Haddish has been a bad guy this whole time, which they've all been breaking the law together the entire movie. So we were kind of aware that she was a bad guy.
Like, her morals are not fantastic. Her moral compass is slightly skewed. And they're just like, oh, by the way, she's a bad guy. Yeah, we know.
And then they bring back like the kids because they set it up at the beginning that Melissa McCarthy is the family one. Mm-hmm. Tiffany Haddish is in a tough relationship. She's in the 70s. She's married to a white guy, lives with the white guy's mother, who...
Guess what?
You're right.
Racist.
Bit of a racist, that one. And Elizabeth Moss has an abusive husband. So we all kind of understand like this is all their backgrounds. When they meet up, this is kind of how they're going to form this team, and they never really do that. It just becomes it. That's a good way of putting it. There's a lot of telling without showing. Like they just become these things, and there's no real climb to it.
We don't really like. We understand their motivations, but we do not understand them as characters.
They also don't establish any of the characters who die. There's one character. There's one death.
Even like the main boss, like the boss,
the one they kill early.
Who they take over the thing from the entire operation from. Like you don't know anything about that guy other than like he's just like this shallow asshole.
Yes, well, like with the exception of the first like 15 minutes, they don't tell you anything about these people. And then when they try to do the thing at the end of like, haha, I was doing this all along. It's like, well, we would have had some clues if you showed us anything instead of just bouncing around from like Elizabeth Moss is killing a guy, like Tiffany Haddish is walking with her racist mother-in-law. Melissa McCarthy, like what was Melissa McCarthy doing? I've already forgotten anything that her character was doing.
Yeah, and like they didn't show any of like they keep telling us like they're very successful criminals. It turns out that they like wow, good for them. They're really changing the scene. We don't see them doing any real criminal stuff other than collecting
just
money.
People paying them.
Yes.
Just people paying them.
Yeah, and so I also wrote down that Melissa McCarthy is supposed to be like the mom in the group. This entire movie, I don't see her get a single babysitter.
Oh, that's true.
She's a single mother, not a single babysitter, and she's doing all this crime. So how good of a mom can she be?
It is such a mess of a movie. All you have to do is they get into organized crime. They get caught up in it. They start spending too much money. They start putting themselves out there a little too much. They start to have brushes with the law. It all comes crumbling down. One of them gets a little too selfish. Like it's so just do that. It's the movie we've seen a million times, and because you'd be doing it with Melissa McCarthy and Tiffany Haddish and Elizabeth Moss,
it would probably be better.
We don't see women in these roles a lot. B, we don't see Tiffany Haddish doing dramatic roles. C, these are all good actors. We would be talking about this movie for awards. Yeah. Like, you could just make... I know that Goodfellas was obviously nominated for awards, but, like, you could make a bad version of Goodfellas with this cast, and we'd be like, nominate it for awards. Because we haven't seen something like this. This is really, really good, and it holds your attention the entire time. Instead, all over the place. They got more scenes of Donald Gleason and Elizabeth Moss cutting people up and making love than there is of explaining... How did this person get in this situation? How are they here? Sloppiest movie. So I realized, like, I went again. First 5 minutes, you're like, this is a cool gangster movie. I'm gonna like it. And you're like, where the hell am I? How did it get here? And now there's an hour left.
And I don't think that you can make a good gangster movie where the weakest part is the police. Like, the police in this movie stunk.
Yeah, shouts out Common.
They were like...
who was, like, kind of there dipping in and out, but not really doing anything.
Yeah, then there were, like, 4 total police officers throughout the course of this movie in New York City.
That's a gangster movie, though.
I guess.
There are never cops in gangster movies.
I guess, but, like,
you know why?
The ones that you do put in, they have to be good.
Like, good characters?
They have to at least like have like a little bit of depth, and you have to like consider the police in a gangster movie.
I would disagree, because the police in gangster movies are usually being paid, or they are staying away from the gangsters because they're scared of them. Like, I don't know much about the history of Hell's Kitchen, but like all the stuff of like, we run this town. Like when gangsters say we run this town, I think that comes from like gangsters running towns.
Sure, but I guess my point is like you have to explain like who the cops are and like what they're doing with relation to investigating these gangsters.
Yeah, Common's
because they do not explain any of like the cop situation, and it's infuriating because basically all of the murders that they commit in this movie are the most easily solvable murders of all time.
Yeah, but again, though, now you got me defending the movie. That always happens, though.
Sure, but explain
like
why they're not being solved.
Because they're gangsters. Because they're the mob.
But they're like new gangsters. in this movie, in this situation, like, they don't just get to, like, show up and be like, oh, now we get to commit murder.
But they're still part of that. They're still, like, affiliated with that family. Like, they essentially take over for that family. Like, in The Sopranos, a lot of those deaths are very, very solvable. A lot, like, they could put bodies on all those people.
But in The Sopranos, like, they kind of, like, establish that they're not being solved because this is the crime family.
Well, why else wouldn't they be solved?
For me, it was just like these. It's hard to. You have the cops there, at least, like, work it in that these women are getting away with murder because they're, like, now gangsters.
I think that's just again. Why else would they not be getting caught?
That's the question that I was asking.
You could have a point. I don't think you do, though. I think that
nobody ever asks questions.
Right. But that's what happens in gangster movies. So in that way, they're at least being true to the formula.
I don't know. For me, I just feel like
why do you just want to put women in jail? Why is it okay when they get away with it in
somebody to ask a
movies?
Single question when an old lady winds up dead at the door of a restaurant, and she just happens to be, like, the mother of like a crime boss.
Yeah. That was like a pretty...
That was one of the worst death scenes that I've ever seen in a movie.
Right. And also, it was that one in particular was, like, in the middle of the street, and after she did it, she yelled, like, "Now you're dead, you bitch, I've killed you." And, like, that one should have had, like, witnesses.
Yeah.
That one I'll give you. Other than the idea of, though, that they're, like, going and, like, offing people who are doing them wrong and stuff, that's just kind of what you get. You've probably heard us talking about hymns and how they're helping guys look their best. It's all we do. If you haven't yet, it's time to see what they're all about. Got some problems. I don't know, like 66% of men losing their hair by the age of 35. It being too late by the time they notice. Best way to prevent more hair loss is to do something about it while you still have some. I'm talking about hair. It's time to get a handle on those hair things of yours. I ask you, do you want a bald spot to pop up or your hairline to recede? You want to do something about it first. Why do guys turn to weird solutions or do nothing when they can turn to medicine and science? The solution is forhims.com, a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness for men. Thanks to science, baldness can be optional. Hims is helping guys be the best version of themselves with licensed physicians and FDA-approved products to help hair loss get treated. There's no snake oil pills, no gas station counter supplements, prescription solutions backed by science. Hims was created by a guy who knows some men's health conversations are easier online than in person. So you don't got to do awkward stuff in the doctor's office or wait in pharmacy lines. For Hims connects you to real doctors online, which could save you hours. It's completely confidential and discreet. Order now. Our listeners can get started with the Hims Complete Hair Kit for just $5 today, right now while supplies last, and subject to doctor's approval. See website for full details and safety information. This could cost you hundreds if you went to the doctor or pharmacy somewhere else. Go to forhims.com/brunch. That's forhims.com/brunch. forhims.com/brunch. Overall, where does this movie land for you?
Like, I'm not going to say that I hated it. I thought that it was, like, somewhat enjoyable. But it was definitely a mess. And I think that it's going to be, it could be like one of those movies that just winds up on TV all the time in like 5 years.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's disappointing because it looked so much better than it ended up being, and you waste so much talent. Like, I think that if it had a less renowned cast and it didn't really deliver on like what it looked like, I'd give it a little bit more slack. But it's really disappointing that it ended up being such a mess. So I don't know. It's got I think like in the 20s is pretty low, but I would say like 30s or 40s.
It was sloppy enough to lose my attention.
It lost your attention.
It was a movie that was very easy to have made. That would have been very easy to have been made well.
It's fixable.
Especially with the...
Hello, Emilio.
Not even necessarily like just switch that. Not fixable. I would just say like the concept, like the elevator pitch for that movie which is what I already said. That is such an easy thing to execute because we've seen it 500 times. Emilio's now sitting on your lap.
Emilio's literally just on my lap.
We've seen that 5,000 times, so I would say do it completely different. Bad job. This movie is definitely an F in my mind. I mean, you said 20s or 30s.
Yeah,
that's
definitely an F.
It's a very disappointing movie, and again, so sloppy that it's not even like, hey, this is funny bad, or like I can laugh at this. Like I'll be able to watch Ma again and be like, this was ridiculous. This is just like, man, how did you make a movie this bad?
I guess it speaks more to like how bad it is that I kind of wish that they would just throw this movie in the trash and start over.
Yeah.
Because if they did that, you'd get a much better product and a much better result. So, yeah, I still can't say that I hated it, though. Like, there are very few movies that I hate. And I think at the end of the day, like, I didn't regret going to see this movie. I didn't regret, like, spending 2 hours on it. It didn't really make me mad after I left the theater. I was just like, that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, my tweet after seeing it was, The Kitchen is probably one of the 5 sloppiest movies I've ever seen. I love it. But in reality, I don't find it rewatchable. Like, I'm not going to want to see it again. I think it's funny how bad it was made, but it's not so bad it's funny. You know, like it's not like I can watch it and laugh through it. I just think of the concept of this is the movie they made, and I laugh and I move on. What a very bad movie. Fortunately, Blinded by the Light is coming out this week.
What's that?
It's the one where the kid wants to go to a Bruce Springsteen concert or something like that.
What?
You haven't seen the previews for that?
No.
Oh, yeah, man. We got some big stuff coming out soon.
I want to see Good Boys this week.
Good Boys is coming out this week. Blinded by the Light is coming out this week. And then the week after that, what's it called? Ready or Not?
Oh, is that the other Hunt movie?
That's the hunting one that Trump's okay with.
Okay.
And then, yeah, those are some of the biggies. We still haven't. I found on the internet, apparently there's a movie with Salma Hayek and Alec Baldwin called Drunk Parents.
Oh, yeah.
Been meaning to get around to that for a while because that just sounds like a very ridiculous movie. I think the parents get drunk in it. That's
going to be a Patreon review. So if you want to subscribe to our Patreon, you get access to all our bad movie reviews.
Yeah.
And get on that because that should be coming soon.
Also, in the store now, we got some Brunch 2019 shirts. A lot of you been asking for them. Now you're finally getting it. There's flowers on them. The shirt contains no spoilers for the movie. Fortunately, we haven't spoiled that movie at all.
Yeah, you won't get any inclination that the old people jump off the cliff.
No. They I did a steal something from Reddit thing, but I only did it half-assed because I credited Reddit.
Yeah.
But somebody saw a picture of 2 old people being pushed into water in wheelchairs, and they were
very good tweet.
This reminded me of Midsommar. I'm like, damn it! I wish I saw that picture by myself first, so I could just say Midsommar 2019. Anyway, get those shirts, do the Patreon thing, and go see Blinded by the Light. And next week we'll tell you whether or not that kid went to a Bruce Springsteen concert.
What's God got to do with fate and circumstance? Forever or a one-night stand? You can have faith, or you can be a man. While we lay around, I can tell you where I stand. Oh, 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 oh. We are blind and I'm yours, but I know this for sure now. Oh, I'm no faithful servant no more, no more hands to the sky. enough. Oh, one thing is certain, the world don't need us. So forget what they say, it's not the same. We'll try again and I'll die that way. Again, the divine comedy with my favorite demons. Left my life somewhere at the bottom of these drinks, and I'll just pay tomorrow for what all I spent this weekend. Oh, 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 we are blind and I'm yours, but I know this for sure. Oh, one thing is certain, the world don't need us. So forget what they say, it's not the same. We'll try again and I'll die that way. All I owe you is myself. Every other person is just someone else. Oh, give me your sins when they are giving you hell. I'll look the other way. God, don't explain. Look at my face and let it fade. Oh, 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 my love, still here for you if it's still enough. Oh, one thing is certain, the world don't need us. Let's forget what they say, it's not the same. Try again and I'll die that way.